Now let's talk about the follicular phase first and what actually triggers ovulation. Well, it's not just about estrogens as well, but you also see things as like luteinizing hormone and follicle stimulating hormone. Now, what we have to talk about is now we have to talk about a lot about hormones, my favorite topic, right? And this is also why I love the reproductive system, because this is why if you really know your endocrine stuff, this pays off big time in the reproductive system. Okay, so here we have our egg in the center, we have our little oocyte, and then what do we have surrounding it? Well, we have all the nuclei of all these cells, and these cells you see here and here, these are, well, actually let's talk about this little layer. So this whole thing isn't the oocyte, you actually have a small jelly-like layer called the Zona Pellucida. So pellucida sounds like lucid, sounds like transparent, so it is this kind of transparent layer that has all these glycoproteins. So it's a little like fluid-like jelly cushion between the oocyte and the surrounding cells. Now what you have here are granulosa cells. So you have granulosa cells all around up in here, and you also have granulosa cells over here. Now these granulosa cells are closer, this layer that's closest to the oocyte, that's what we call the corona radiata. So the innermost layer of granulosa cells. So again, corona, what does that mean? It means crown. So like before COVID-19, I used to use this. It's like a crown that surrounds the oocyte, but now everybody thinks of corona like this, right? So again, corona refers to some sort of it's like the corona of the sun. It radiates out from something. So that's what we have here, the corona radiata. This is a layer of granulosa cell that radiates from the oocyte. So we have this antrum, which is this fluid-filled cavity. So again, it's not just empty space. You do have fluid within this follicle right here. Now what happens is that you also have these cells that are next to the granulosa cells, and this is called the fecal layer or theca cells. And they produce androstenedione, which is an androgen. So an inexact, or I like to call it a mnemonic with a twist, a common mnemonic people like to say is like theca cells produce T, as in testosterone. So yes, it isn't that they do produce androgens, but androstenedione isn't the same thing as testosterone. They're both androgens. But if it helps in your mind, you can think, okay, theca cells is like testosterone, but which is a type of androgen. But if you're going on to say a more advanced class or medical school, then theca cells do not produce testosterone directly. They produce androstenedione, which is an androgen. All right, so why all this talk about hormones? Well, theca cells, well, again, they produce a steroid hormone called androstenedione. So this is an androgen. But the thing is, why don't women get super jacked up on these testosterone and androgens? Well, the thing is that they're right next to these granulosa cells, and these granulosa cells are in waiting to receive this androstenedione. So granulosa cells are full of this enzyme called aromatase, and especially if you're a gym bro or gym or just gym sister, I don't even know what you call it, a female gym bro, but again, or gym sis, I don't know. But yeah, anyway, aside that aside, aromatase, what does that do? Aromatase in general converts androgens to estrogens. So aromatase in these granulosa cells is going to take all this androstenedione from the theca cells and convert them to estrone. So estrone is an estrogen. It's not the primary estrogen in the body, but the thing is that more metabolism, your granulosa cells have other enzymes that can convert estrone into estradiol. So again, estradiol is the primary estrogen in the human body, and then it can secrete and release this estradiol into the surrounding tissues. So granulosa cells are a very important part of making estrogen in the body. Now, ovarian estrogen production. So again, theca cells, they don't produce estrogens directly. They're important for making that first steroid backbone, and it is an androgen at first. But the granulosa cells are going to convert that androgen into estrogen via aromatase. And aromatase is going to convert it into estrone. That's actually kind of advanced for this level, but just know that these granulosa cells are going to take these androgens and eventually make estradiol from that. And this estradiol, again, a very important female hormone. So they also produce it. The granulosa cells also produce another hormone called inhibin. Now, inhibin is not a steroid hormone. It's actually a dipeptide hormone, so it has two peptides that are stuck together. So inhibin is a polypeptide and amino acid hormone, or actually, I shouldn't say amino acid. It is a peptide hormone. And this is the so this is the martini version of the axis in the female reproductive system. I have a simpler version of this in the homework, and also the OpenStax version has a simpler version as well.